If you're new here, consider subscribing. I don't waste people's time. My photography is good. You'll see.
Automobile companies manufacture vehicles. There's your big duh of the day. But what they're really about is making money, because if they don't do that, they stop building things like this, the all-new 2021 Cadillac Escalade, Generation 5. On so many levels, it's the American, if not international, symbol for money. Yeah, I've seen them in Europe and Japan. For starters, luxury brands tend to have higher profit margins, so presumably General Motors rakes it in with this, and its large and in-charge physique makes anyone behind the wheel appear successful. Looking like $1 million starts at $77,500. No surprise, it's easy to cross the $100,000 threshold, especially with the longer ESV model. This one's nearly $105,000 as tested. Cha-ching!
It's no secret that profitability comes from using the same platform across many different brands. All automakers do it. Escalade shares its architecture with Chevy Tahoe and Suburban, plus GMC Yukon. They all get a new independent rear suspension that opens up space in the cargo and third row area. But after that, Cadillac goes its own way. Nearly every single body panel is different, and that's just for starters.
The interior is not only completely unlike its brethren, it takes a fundamentally different approach. Compared to the Chevy and GMC rigs, Escalade's dashboard is sculpted away for a more sedan-like atmosphere. A sedan that seems 5 feet off the ground, mind you. The big news is this curved OLED screen with twice the pixel density of a 4K TV. The OLED is literally the thickness of a sheet of paper. There are in reality 3 panels, a 7.3-inch display, this 14.2-inch unit, and one that's nearly 17 inches. They're configurable, plus so crisp and bright, no hood is needed. There are 2 engines. For the first time, Escalade gets a no-cost option turbo diesel. At 3 liters, it makes 277 horsepower and 460 pound-feet of torque. My tester runs with a new 6.2-liter V8 that makes 420 horses and 460 pound-feet. With cylinder deactivation, it can run on as few as 2 pistons, and no, it can't be detected. The gearbox is a 10-speed, a basic trailering package is standard. An electronic limited slip differential is available. Escalade can be had with rear and four-wheel drive. The latter can get a set-and-forget all-wheel drive-like mode, so you can think about your investments and not the road surface. Yes, the independent rear suspension helps to create more room in the back, but Escalade is 7 inches longer now. On this premium luxury model, magnetic ride control dampers are optional, so is the air suspension that lowers this big boy 2 inches for disembarking and at highway speeds for better fuel efficiency.
Escalade is a mammoth machine. It's also fast. Would you believe 0 to 60 in under 6 seconds? I'm not going to do it in this neighborhood, but I've tried it. It's something. Pushed hard, that kind of velocity is disorienting in a vehicle this big. It's probably how the pilot of a 737 feels on takeoff. And yeah, you do ride that high in this. I can see my house from here, and I'm a city over.
Escalade is exceptionally quiet. You will hear the V8, but it's in the distance. Sounds like the next county. There is more sound absorption materials in the Cadillac because, well, it's a Cadillac, and it should be that way.
Because the dash is carved away, Escalade feels more open and airy than the other GM SUVs, but it still feels big because, well, it is big.
You can push it somewhat. It snakes through turns and curves with good control, surprising considering the mass of this machine. There's not tons of steering feel. It's not a Cayenne, but no one expects that kind of handling from a truck-based SUV.
Magnetic ride control is really impressive. At 60 miles an hour, it reads every inch of the roadway and then adapts to keep you comfortable and to keep the vehicle stable. Literally every single inch. Honestly, for a big boy, this thing can hustle. and it has a surprisingly tight turning radius. Here comes a cul-de-sac, and it's actually kind of a small one, but really, the Escalade takes it with ease.
Driving the GMC Yukon, I noticed a tiny bit of vibration coming up through the structure after hitting very large bumps. The Cadillac seems to have less of that. Engineers say the new integrated front-end structure means a 10% increase in lateral stiffness and a 28% increase in body bending stiffness.
Escalade weighs some 5,800 pounds, easily 3 tons with the driver. Imagine the force it takes to stop this thing. The binders feel solid, the stopping distance is respectable. Remember, this is a truck-based SUV.
Speaking of braking and ability, Escalade can tow up to 8,300 pounds, and owners use it for that, according to GM.
Let's talk about fuel economy. You know it's not going to be great. The EPA rates the average of this one at 16 miles per gallon, and premium fuel is specified. The people that buy this won't care, but their gas bill will be about the size of the GDP of a small country, that's for sure.
Escalade will be available with the next generation Super Cruise, true hands-free driving on hundreds of thousands of miles of LiDAR map roadways. Night vision is available. Standard is an augmented reality navigation system that overlays graphics on top of an image of the road ahead to make directions easier. Like nearly all vehicles these days, Escalade has a fuel-saving engine stop-start system.
The system is pretty smooth. You probably won't notice it, but if you want to turn it off, it's easy to do that.
For years, I've groused that Cadillac should appoint its vehicles with interiors that are, well, Cadillac grade. It's finally doing that. I find the Mercedes GLS to be the benchmark in class, but materials look and feel rich. This is one giant plank of wood. Lincoln cabins go with a classic vibe. Cadillac reaches for a modern angle to luxury. You have to look hard to find average-looking plastics. Seats are very supportive, heated and vented too. The wheel is heated as well. It's helpful to have a good camera arsenal when you have an SUV this large. This one is especially robust, with loads of views, including this one, kind of a perimeter sweep. And if that's not enough, there's a digital mirror, especially good when the cargo area is loaded to the ceiling.
There's an optional 36-speaker AKG audio system, which I am not going to try to demonstrate on your speakers, but it is one of the best that I have ever heard in an automobile. Now, considering how expensive the Escalade is, you obviously don't like music if you're not going to spring for the $4,300 system. And really neat feature, there's a separate audio zone for the passenger.
There are a lot of storage areas in this Cadillac, many of them large. You could lose a child if you're not careful. The console does not move like it does in the Yukon. I like that feature. Door pockets are not lined, and where Tahoe and Yukon have many storage cubbies in the door, Escalade just has the one. The OLED screen isn't just gorgeous, the interface is functional and easy to use. Touch response is excellent, layout is logical, there's even a search feature if you're trying to find a specific function. And if you don't like fingerprints, there's always the knob. Amazon Alexa, Android Auto, and Apple CarPlay are standard. This is the future of automotive dashboards, and I like it. Everybody that sees it likes it. Escalade can seat up to 8 if you get the bench seat in the mid-row. These chairs have significant travel, so passengers can max out the legroom or do the right thing and show those in row 3 some love and respect. Both of them flip and fold out of the way for easy access to the way back. The floor is perfectly flat. There's a climate zone here and the seats are heated. Lots of storage, that's not an issue, but I'm surprised that there are no sunshades or multiple pockets in the doors. The entertainment system is especially well done. Use the high-speed Wi-Fi hotspot and you can stream video to these screens using an Apple TV or Fire Stick. There are lots of inputs to do that, and in some cases, one passenger can swipe their video over to the other, if it's more interesting.
Like all the new GM SUVs, there's a lot more space back here. This is set about midway, and I have plenty of space. There are belts for 3, but if you're being shuttled to the Oscars in an Escalade, I would demand 2. I think you deserve it.
Plenty of cup holders and USB ports to keep people in back happy. Time for Cadillac After Dark. Approach the car and the brand's shield greets you. It's on the back of the OLED display. Lots of lighting around the vehicle too. Inside, there's solid ambient lighting. You can change the color. Not as nice as Mercedes and BMW, but it does add atmosphere.
Yes, the Escalade does have a kick-to-open tailgate. I like those because I always have my hands full. It also has this. Bump the badge, and voila.
Escalade owners specifically asked for a larger vehicle because it was tough to get a big cooler in here when using all 3 rows. Minivans are actually better for that, but I digress. Escalade is armed for bear when it comes to doing the chores. There's 15.2 cubic feet behind the 3rd row now, 51.6 when you drop it. Not only does row 2 fall remotely, a second push of the button flips them up and out of the way for a whopping 94.2 cubic feet. With big SUVs, it can be hard to raise the 3rd row without getting schmutz all over your clothes. Not an issue with Escalade. I had less than 24 hours with this truck, no time to do the TP trunk test. But here's some file footage from the same size GMC Yukon. The old one only took on 3 packs of the 2-ply. Now it's a fairly easy 7. As I said before, nearly all body panels are different from the other GM SUVs. Only the roof is shared, and no one sees that. I am not making any NBA jokes here. The grille gets inspiration from the Escalade concept, keeping Cadillac's signature vertical blade DRLs and adding horizontal headlamps. Look closely, and you will be rewarded with interesting touches. Darth Vader has once again donated his lightsabers for tail lamp duty. It's an Escalade signature, and once again, the closer you look, the more you'll see. Overall, it's a lighter, less imposing look, but still strong. Everyone knows Escalade, and the designers were not about to mess too much with that. And a round of applause for hiding the rear wiper. All right, let's wrap this up with red light, green light. Green light. Without a doubt, the OLED screen is a crowd pleaser. Yeah, it looks great, but it's also functional. The high-quality interior with its sculpted dashboard gives Escalade an airiness that other truck-based SUVs don't have. Driving dynamics are excellent. I had no issue flinging it around and making U-turns. Okay, flinging it might be a bit much, but it does go. And I like the new modern styling that adds crispness to the overall look. It's less bulky. Yellow lights? Well, I still think the Mercedes GLS has a more compelling interior. That could be a personal choice. Check it out yourself. It might drive a size smaller than it is, but it's still a mighty big machine, and if you're buying the ESV model that's 15 inches longer, measure your garage before buying. Red lights. Fuel economy. Yeah, it's expected, but if you're commuting alone in this for hours at a time, that's a big impact on Mother Earth, not to mention your wallet. And then there's price. This mid-level premium luxury model is nearly $105,000 as tested. A fully loaded Platinum ESV hovers near $120,000. But hey, it's how automakers make money, and a check with Cadillac dealers says there's a growing line for these. Yes, even when the average transaction price hovers around the $100,000 mark. And if you have the funds, and you often need to haul a lot of people in luxury or tow big toys in style, why not? People love the bigness and grandeur that Escalade stands for, and this is the best Escalade yet. Truth be told, back in the day, I thought the first Escalade was ridiculous. Clearly a Suburban with a new grille and leather seats. It was effectively a supersized Cimarron. It shows how much I know about marketing. Over 5 generations, it has certainly evolved. Escalade is quite different from the other GM SUVs in both design and character. There will be 2 camps with it, those who love the size, luxury, and image, and those who loathe it for the same reasons. My job is to review all vehicles from neutral ground, and sometimes explore their impact on society and the ecosystem when it's obviously an issue.
One thing is for certain, Escalade is hardly carbon neutral. It's big, it's thirsty. When you're talking about the good and bad aspects of a car, you have to include things like that. Cadillac will have a bunch of EVs out soon. If you wait a year and a half or so, the Lyriq SUV will be out.
When I drove the GMC Yukon, I mentioned that families that don't tug big boats or campers might be better in a large crossover like Buick Enclave or Volkswagen Atlas, but the Escalade has no crossover equivalent. Cadillac's own XT6 is not nearly as opulent.
Time for the ending fun fact. You might want to consider subscribing to this channel and clicking the notifications bell while I give it. You all know that the Lincoln Navigator was the original large American luxury SUV, right? But according to Cadillac, Escalade has been the best seller 15 out of 22 years. So, you know, sometimes being first doesn't mean everything. Like Hydrox cookies. Did you know that Hydrox was the original cookie, then Oreo came along and stole its thunder? And Hydrox was originally kind of a high-end luxury cookie. Yeah, seriously. So many fun facts on this one. Thanks for watching, folks. That's Driven. I'm Tom Voelk.